How's it going, everybody? Roseman here. Today I'm going to be bringing you a deck list video for my OP11 Anel build. We are using the OP05098 Anel leader. The ability for this leader is on opponent's turn. Once per turn, when your life hits 0, you may add the top card of your deck to your life, then discard one card from your hand. It is important to note the sequencing here that you do add life before you discard hand, because if your last life is a trigger that um, you can use and it leaves you with nothing in hand, you can still heal using leader ability. So very important to note with this leader. So with that being said, let's dive on in to the list here, starting with one of our blockers, the 2-cost EV01057 Shirahoshi blocker. She is a 2-cost 0k power. She does have 1k encounter, and then has a static effect that when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, you place up to one card from the top of your deck onto your life. So this is a good blocker. Your opponents will try not to KO it because of that extra life they're going to be giving you. It is also very cheap. So, you can play out multiple in the late game if you need them. It does not have any trigger, but that's okay. It is, you get enough out of this as is. So, next in the list, we have 4 of the EB02052 Anel character. He is a 10-cost 11k. He has no counter. Static ability, if your leader has the Sky Island type, this character gains Rush, and it has a when attacking ability, you may trash one card from your hand. If your life has a 1 or less cards, you place up to one card from the top of your deck onto your life, then give this character plus 1k power for this turn. Couple things to note here: that you may trash one card from your hand is a qualifier. If you do not meet that, you cannot do the rest of this ability. So when using his when attacking, you do have to trash always. The other half is kind of a joint. If your life has 1 or less cards, so if you're at 0 life, 1 life, you can add the top of your deck to your life. Then give this character 1 plus 1,000 power for this turn. If you don't add life, because it is placed up to 1, you can still gain the plus 1k power by trashing a card from hand when this card attacks. So you can turn this into a 12k swing, or potentially more if you have Dawn attached. I don't find it's very worthwhile to use the plus 1k power without getting the healing effect, but if that's the way you want to play, it's up to you. I'm just letting you know how the card itself plays. Other than that, this card has no trigger, and obviously no counter, like we mentioned earlier, so nothing really major going on there. Moving on, we also have the EB02054 Sanji blocker from EB02. He is a 5-cost 6k. So he's a big boy blocker. He does have 1k encounter. Like we mentioned, he does have blocker. And then he has an on play. If you have 2 or less life, you're going to draw 2 and trash 1 from your hand. So you're really good in kind of that late game if you're looking for, you need to get some milling done, you need to get some card search if you got some bad cards in hand, or if you're looking for some 2Ks. He can help you there. Obviously, with the Anel, you're going to want to take some hits pretty early on, so you're going to thrive in that 1 to 2 life range. So this Sanji's almost always going to be in range for you. He does not have a trigger, so there's nothing really great going on for you there. So we're going to move on to the OP03 123 Secret Charlotte Katakuri character. He is 8-cost, 8,000 power. He has no counter. On play, you put up to 1 character with a cost of 8 or less on the top or bottom of its owner's life area face up. This is important because you can either do this to your own cards, loading stuff into your life if you need to heal yourself, or if your opponent has some big characters that you need to get off of board, you can use this to address that problem. This character does not have any trigger, so there's nothing to worry about there. And we'll move on. Next, we have the OP04 100 Capone Beji. 3 cost 3k power. He is also a 2k counter. He does not have an effect, but he does have a trigger. Up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters cannot attack during this turn. That is probably the one of the best. I won't say it is the best. It is one of the best yellow triggers out there. You will see this card ran in pretty much every yellow deck just because of the fact that it's a 2K and of that trigger. Plus, if you have this on board, you can force load this using the previously mentioned Katakuri card. So that's really cool. Next, we have OP04 112 Yamato. She is a 9 cost 9k power. She does not have any counter. On play, you're going to KO your opponent's characters with a cost that is equal to or less than the total of your and your opponent's life. Then, if you have one or less life, you may add up to one card top of your deck to your life area. It is important to note that you do not have to meet the KO requirement to get the life heal. If your opponent does not have any targets for you to KO with this Yamato, whether they have no characters at all or they only have big body characters, this Yamato is a good heal, especially if you're on that odd curve. The Yamato does not have a trigger, so there's nothing to worry about there. Moving on, we have OP05 102 Gedatsu. He is a 5 cost, 6,000 power. He does have 1k encounter, and then on play, you KO up to one of your opponent's characters with cost equal to or less than their life. So, in contrast to the Yamato, this character is only looking at your opponent's life. So, it's one of the reasons why you may want to add cards back to life using the Katakuri for your opponent. Not only do you get to get some of their characters off board, but you can get certain things in range with this Gedatsu. I have actually seen some matches where people have used Gedatsu to KO like the 10 drop Shanks. It's insane what you can do if you're loading into your opponent's life properly. So this Gedatsu, very strong card, plus he is a 1k. Then we have OP07 119 Portus the Ace Secret Rare. He is a 10 drop, 10k power, no counter. On play, you may add up to one card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. Then, if you have 2 life cards or less, this character gains Rush. This is another one that's very important to notice. He can heal regardless. So for 10 Dawn, you can heal with this card all the time. But he only gets Rush if after you heal or choose not to heal, you have 2 or less life cards. So very important that if you're trying to play him out as a rusher, you understand where you stand in life. Or think of it as a way of, let me get a big body established, heal as well, and then we'll just wait a turn. A lot of advantages with this ace. With that being said, we move on to OP08 106 Super Rare Nami. 5 cost, 5k power. She has 1k encounter. And then on play, you may trash one card with a trigger from your hand. You will then KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Then, if your hand has 3 or less cards in it, you draw a card. This Nami is very strong in the mid game, letting you KO some of your opponent's characters. So she also does have a trigger that you can just activate the cards on play effect. You won't get to play the card out, but you do get that removal, and if you're at a low hand cost, you can get that draw. Next, we have OP10 114 X Drake, 3 cost, 3k power. It does have 2K encounter, and then it is an activate main effect. You may rest this character if the number of your life cards is less than or equal to the number of your opponent's life cards. Rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. This is really good in some of the early game to get rid of some blockers. It can also be extremely good in the late game to be able to, get some of those blockers rested that you can get past or swing into just to get them off board if necessary. Plus, he's a 2K counter, so really, really cool. Now we have OP11 106 Zeus, 2 cost 2K power. It also has 2K encounter, and it has the on play of you may add 1 card from the top bottom of your life cards to your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Very important to note that you do have to take a life to be able to get the KO effect here. So please note that you can't just not take a life to get the KO effect here. You can, however, because of the way the game is played, use, say, the 10 drop Anel. If he's already on board, you can use his ability to attack and heal a life to then use this Zeus to take that life. And then if you have like another Anel on board, you could then use it again, use his other ability or his when attacking to heal back up again. So there is some ways to kind of play around this Zeus, but very, very strong that for 2 costs, you're getting a 5 cost off board. So fantastic. Plus it being a 2K counter, huge card. Absolutely love this card. Next, we have ST07007, Charlotte Brule, 3 cost 1K power plus 1K counter. She is just a blocker, but she does have a trigger, and the trigger is simply just play this card. Probably one of the strongest triggers in yellow. It has no qualifiers. It's not, if your leader is Big Mom Pirates, play this card. It is just simply play this card. So really cool if you're in a bind and you get hit and all of a sudden you've got a blocker on board. Absolutely fantastic. Next we have OP06 115. You're the one who should disappear event card. This is a 0 drop event. It is a counter. You may trash 1 card from your hand. Your leader or up to one of your characters gets plus 3,000 battle for this battle. It does also have a trigger. This trigger is probably more so the reason why this is in the deck. If you have 0 life cards, so meaning this is your last life card and you take this, you're at 0 life cards, you then put the top of your deck onto your life pile, then trash 1 card from your hand. That can stack with the leader ability. So you can go from 0 life back to 2 life. Just like that. It is an insane trigger to hit at bottom life. And something you can use to kind of make this happen is the next card. The OP10 116 Damned Punk Electromagnetic Cannon event card. This is a 4 cost event. It has a main that look up to one card from the top of you or your opponent's life cards and place it at the top or bottom of their life cards. Then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 5 or less. So you can use this Damned Punk to look at your life and place that life at top or bottom. So if you're playing this and say you pull your top life, you're at 3 life, you pull the top life, you see that it's you're the one who should disappear, you can place that sucker right at the bottom. And then you're going to be hitting that you're the one who should disappear down there. Very strong card. It also has a trigger. The trigger is simply just draw 2, discard 1. Very good in the late game. If you're kind of at a point where you and your opponent are only playing like big bodies and you're not really getting any of those low bodies that need to get, pulled off, trigger this guy. Get 2 extra cards in hand. Maybe you get a big body yourself. Maybe you get something else you need. Maybe you get a blocker. Absolutely worthwhile pulling this card and using it as a trigger. So that is the deck list. we're gonna dive into some simulator matches I've got here together. These are just recordings I've done um, of some matches I already played with this deck. But all right, guys, here let's we are. Dive on in, guys. Playing a Nell versus a Jinbei. We're choosing to go first here. Looking at our hand, and didn't really like that, so we mulliganed. Didn't really draw anything better. Kind of have to hope our opponent didn't pull anything great here. So let's see what they choose. Are they going to go with a keep or a mulligan? And if memory serves correct, yep, they did keep. They drew one Dawn, played the Kami. Kami reveals Hody Jones, and then pass the turn back to me. We didn't really pull anything for a 2 Dawn turn, so we went ahead and just passed straight back to our opponent. Opponent's going to play a Shirahoshi, rest of Shirahoshi, rest of Dawn. And on this, they are going to reveal a Jinbei from OB11. And swing, attach 1 to leaders, swing 6. We're going to take. We're not going to trigger here because it's not worth doing with the Bedge. We'll keep it as a 2K in hand. Here we are on our third turn, or our second turn, sorry, and trying to debate what we do. Do we Zeus, take a life and KO something? Do we use Damned Punk? If memory serves, I believe, yep, I use a Damned Punk. I'll view my life. I'll go ahead and leave the Enel there. We'll get rid of that Searcher and swing a 5 into their leader. And I believe they counter out of this hit. Nope, they do take that one. And with that, we pass the turn back to the opponent. Now they've got 5 Dawn to play with. They've only got their 1 Searcher, but they do play another Searcher Kami. They whiffed on that one, so no cards picked up there, which is good for us. Still have 4 Dawn open. Swings a 5 into the leader, and we're going to go ahead and take that. We're going to pull that 10-drop Enel into hand, and then they're going to swing another 5 with their other Kami. And we're just going to go ahead and take that. We'll trigger the Brûlée to get a blocker on board. And with 1 Dawn open, they will pass the turn back to us. We now have a 6 Dawn turn. Looking at our options here, we can swing into the Kami and take it out. We could play the Nami, but we go ahead and swing leader into the 2 there. And then we go ahead and Damn Punk. We'll look at their life. It's a Jinbei. We'll put that at the bottom. We don't want them having a second one of those. We'll KO, and then we'll play a Shirahoshi. So we've got 2 blockers on board going into turn 4. And outright, our opponent will immediately play the Jinbei. They'll swing or rest our Brûlée and then swing their leader at it. We'll go ahead and give up that. No problem there. We have 8. We're going to immediately tap down a Katakuri, send that Jinbei to the bottom of their life, swing 5 into them. Now we know that our opponent has 2 Jinbeis at the bottom of their life, which is great for us. They go ahead and take the hit, bringing them back down to 4 life. And then they do trigger resting our Shirahoshi. Nothing really we can do about that, but that's all right. They're going to swing 5 into the 0. We'll give them that. They've got 9 Dawn to play with. They play a Zoro. That's a scary one to have on there. We're kind of sweating a little bit, thinking, all right, what do we do? What do we do? I've got 10 Dawn. I can play the ace and heal, which is exactly what I do. And then we go ahead and swing 5 with our leader at their leader. And they should counter out of this one, which they do. We swing 8 with our Katakuri at them. They take that one. We swing 10 at their 5. They take that as well. We know those last 2 lives are Jinbeis, so they're dead in hand, no counter. We do have to worry about this 9-drop Zoro. The Vanderdecken does suck because it can KO a rested character for 2 costs, so there went my ace. That was kind of filthy, but that's all right. Now our opponent is debating on what to do. They've got 8 Dawn standing. They could swing that Zoro up to 3 times for 3 Dawn this turn. Absolutely disgusting. But if I remember, I don't think he swings with it here. Probably trying to save it. But let's see what he does. He's still thinking. He's still thinking. Oh, and they just DC'd. So we won that round. All right, here we are in round 2. Anel versus Arlong. Let's dive on into this one. So our opponent's choosing turn order. They are choosing to go first. We are going second. We will go ahead and keep because we do have the Shirahoshi in hand to go ahead and drop a first turn blocker. Our opponent plays a Kami, drawing into Rusher Hody Jones. We're going to go ahead and drop 2 and play that Shirahoshi on board, pass it back to our opponent. Opponent's going to go up to a 3-Dawn turn, and I believe they attach 2 to leader and use the leader ability to play out something here. They're debating on what to do. 6 cards in hand. What card do they want to play out? How do they want to approach this turn? Because they know if they swing with their leader, I can just choose to block here. So they went ahead and Kami'd to search again. And this time they drew the Arlong from EBO2. Then they attached 2 to their leader. And we're not going to trigger the leader ability there. We're going to, or that Nami, we're going to save that. On this turn, we're going to go ahead and play a Shirahoshi, attach 2 to leaders, swing 7 back to them, which they'll take. No trigger. We pass back the turn. They're up to 5-Dawn. And again, our opponent's got a pretty big sized hand. 8 in hand. They're going to go ahead and attach 2 to leader, swing 7, and use leader ability to bring out the Lord of the Coast, which was kind of a misplay in my opinion because I don't have anything rested that would come active. I go ahead and take the attack and get a Katakuri in return, which is cool. I'll be on 6-Dawn on the next turn, so it's not super great. I'm debating on what to do here. I can use Zeus, or I can use Nami. I can just X-Drake, which is what I do here. I use X-Drake, I rest it, I rest the Lord of the Coast, and then I attach all to leader and swing a big fat 8 into that Lord of the Coast. And our opponent goes ahead and gives us the 2/2 Ks. Again, I think that's kind of a misplay, but, to each their own. Saving it there may have been the right move for him. But we finish that 8K swing, we attach back. They then attach 2 to their Lord of the Coast, swing it back at us. We take it and get a Gadatsu in return. Leaves them with 5-Dawn open. They need 3 for leader ability, 2 to attach, and 1 to rest. So they could drop a Shirahoshi blocker at the end of the turn as well, or they could choose not to use leader ability and just swing a big fat 10, which they are going to swing at 9 into my X-Drake. I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to keep him because I need to be able to deal with that Lord of the Coast sometimes, or maybe some of the other stuff, and I can go ahead and deal with the Arlong using Katakuri here. So I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, okay, what does he do? What does he do? And we think we've got 8. I can Nami and get rid of the Lord of the Coast, but then that still leaves that Arlong up on board. And ultimately I decide, you know what, it's worth getting that off. We'll go ahead and drop that to the bottom of their life. And then we'll swing 5 at their Lord of the Coast, force him to either give up another counter or lose the character, which they do give up a Lord of the Coast to save the Lord of the Coast. Pass turn back to them. Opponent's now at 9-Dawn. We'll be going to 10. I'm not too worried about being super low life here. I've got plenty of counter in hand. I've got removal in hand. I've got the Yamato if I need to heal. I've got the Anel that'll heal constantly. So our opponent's going to attach 2 to Lord of the Coast and swing 7 at us. We say that's fine. We're going to go ahead and trash believe we trashed the Gadatsu because we're doing the math, and the Gadatsu doesn't get us too much benefit right now, and having 2 in hand's okay. So we give up the Gadatsu to get a life back off leader ability. Opponent's got 7 Dawn open, attaches 2 to their Arlong, swings it. I believe he plays the Kikanojo. We declare no blocker. We give them the 0 drop and a Gadatsu. Go up to 8. That leaves him with 4 open. And they drop a Arlong. What they're thinking of doing here. With 1 Dawn open, there's really not much they can do. They use the Arlong ability to put Arrested onto their leader, which tells me they played out of sequence. Here, and they stop my X-Drake from being able to rest, so I can't use the X-Drake ability on this next turn. Not a big deal. I'm like, okay, I can use the Yamato here. I can get some removal with the Yamato. So I'm going to Yamato, and I'm going to pop the Arlong. I'm going to swing 6 into Lord of the Coast, force him to either give up a 2K with the character. He's in the counter step now, debating if he saves this character. I believe he's going to go ahead and give this up. It's a little too late in game. Yep, he gives it up. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, is it worth swinging the 8 and giving him a life? I said, nope, we're going to go ahead and starve him a little bit, keep him at a low hand count. He's at 10 with 4 in hand. He has a 6K swinger and the Kikanojo plus the leader. He goes ahead and plays the Karubi to rest my Shirahoshi. He swings 7 with the Kikanojo. I take that. I get a Yamato out of life. They're going to go ahead and swing 2 at the Shirahoshi. It could be worth saving it here, but I think I can just work on clearing board on the next turn. So I'm really not too worried about keeping it alive. Obviously, I know with the Kikanojo effect, he will get a life by KOing it, but it's worth giving him that life if I can control board state. So he's going to swing 7 with leader at my leader. I'm going to go ahead and take. I get an ace in return. We're going to use the leader ability, and we're going to go ahead and probably get rid of that ace because I've got 2 of the Nail Rushers in hand. Opponent plays a Shirahoshi blocker of their own. I am at 10 Dawn, and I can do some removal here. I'm going to go ahead and just use the Yamato to get some removal and some heal. I go ahead and Yamato the Karubi, and now I'm going to start swinging into some characters because I want to... actually, I rest the X-Drake to rest the Shirahoshi, and then I work on clearing board, saying 9 into the 6, thinking he has to go 2Ks, which he probably doesn't have in those 2 cards. Yep, opponent has to give that up because we rested his blocker. We're going to swing 8 into 2. Again, he doesn't have. And we're going to go ahead and just swing 5 into 0. Again, he won't have the counter. And like that, he has gone from a pretty full board to 1 character, 1 leader. I'm at 2 life. He can invest very heavily on the leader and try to swing into one of my characters, which I'd probably give up. I've got, the Rusher and L's. And, I'm not too worried at this state. Yeah, he's got 5 life and I've got 2, but not a big deal. He goes to swing into the X-Drake there, which I go ahead and give up because it's really not worth saving in this situation. Too big of an investment. He does play Lord of the Coast on leader ability, freezing my Yamato. He then plays Hody. Hody taking a life. He does rest my Yamato off the Hody and swings 8 into the Katakuri. And I'm going to go ahead and give him the 1K in the form of that Nami there because it's worth saving. So now we have the Gadatsu in hand. We're going to use the Gadatsu to get rid of the Lord of the Coast. Leaves us with 5 Dawn open still. And we're just doing some simple math here in hand. We know that he's got a 9K. So I'm going to swing 12 at the 8. He can't save that. We've got our 2 9K bodies. We've got an 8K swing going with Katakuri at their leader. He's going to be forced to take, and he does get the trigger on the blocker, so we go ahead and swing a 7, and He takes that as well. So now we're back to even on life. I've got two, he's got two, but I'm in a much stronger board state. Also in hand, I'm staring at two 2Ks, and I have the zero drop. I've got the Katakuri to remove a big body, so if he drops another Hody, I can use that. He goes ahead and attaches 5 onto his blocker, swings 10 at my 9. I give him a 2K, save my blocker, or save my Yamato, sorry. And, that's kind of a blow for him. He clearly knew he had to uh, go for lethal. He didn't have lethal with that, so he had to concede. Because we were just going to clear board state again. I could have rushed and saved it. So that is it for round 2. All right, here we are in round 3. Myanel versus a Buggy. Our opponent is choosing turn order here, so we're just waiting on them to figure that one out. They choose to go first, puts us in second. We got a pretty good hand for second, so we're going to go ahead and keep that. And our opponent's debating on if they want to keep that hand or if they want to look for something else. They went ahead and kept. They draw one Dawn. They get their Mr. 3 and drew into a Crocodile. Place the rest at the bottom of the deck. We're going to draw a card. We're going to draw our Dawn. We're going to drop 2 and place your Hoshi and immediately pass back to our opponent. They go to a 3 Dawn turn. Opponent debating on what to do. They go ahead and play out a Richie. Attach 1 to leader, swing 6. We go ahead and take. Bad spot for that. You're the one who should disappear, but that's all right. We've got 3. We're going to go ahead and hard play 3 for a Brule and swing 6 at their leader. They go ahead and take that life. We pass the turn back to them. They're going to draw a card, go up to 5, and now they're in range of their leader ability, which they do use, trashing a cross-guild searcher to play the Crocodile into Emoji. Emoji letting him search for a Richie, whiffed on the search, and doesn't have another one in hand, so he doesn't get to play it. And then he just swings a 5 into our leader, and we'll just go ahead and take. We do get an ace rusher in return. We're going to go up to 6 Dawn. We're going to go ahead and get Datsu KOing the Richie. We'll swing 6 into their lead. They'll go ahead and take that. We'll pass turn back. You kind of keep an even pace on this one. We'll go to 8 on the next turn. We have the Curry to deal with that Crocodile. When we get to the 10 drop turn, we have the Rush Nell, we have the Rush Ace. The Nell's really, really good, again, because it lets you heal on attack. The Ace is really good if you don't have the Enel, or if you already have one on board and you don't need to waste a card. They're going to swing 5 with Emoji. We're going to get the Bedge. We're going to make it to where his Crocodile can attack. He then swings 5 with his leader. We go ahead and take that one as well. No trigger. And looking at what we're going to trash, we're going to go ahead and trash the Ace because we have the Enel. We're going to go to 8. We're going to drop a Katakuri. And we're debating on what we're going to put away here. And the real answer is let's get rid of that Crocodile. And we swing a 6 into the Emoji. Opponent lets us have that. And then we swing 5 into their lead. And they go ahead and give us the 1K in the form of a Mihawk. We pass the turn back to them. They're up to a 9 Dawn turn. Not too worried about life state, obviously, because I have the Russian Nell. They are leader ability, or sorry, they are actually using the searcher, and they pull Dracula Mihawk blocker. They leader ability to play out the Mihawk. They trash the Crocodile, attach 2 Dawn to leader and 1 to Mr. 1. They're going to swing at the Gratsu, and I'm going to go ahead and give them the Brule blocker. And then he swings 7 at the Datsu. This time, I think we go ahead and give up a 2K to save him, right? Yep, we go ahead and give up the Zeus. Nothing really in range to need to deal with that Zeus. Debating if I drop the 10 drop Enel to get the rush, or if we Katakuri and kind of deal with board state. We're going to drop the Katakuri. We're going to return that Mihawk to the bottom of their life. And then we're going to swing into the Mr. 1 to try to get it off board. So we're going to go ahead and attach 2 to get out 2, swing an 8 at it, get a little 2K. He goes and blocks out of that. We swing another 8 at it. See if we get another, getting 2K. Nope. And we go ahead and pass the turn. We're going to starve him a little bit, leave him at 5 life. Again, I'm at 1 life. He could swing it with Mr. 3. But we have the Shirahoshi on board, so I'm not too worried. He establishes board a little bit, gets the Crocodile on board, gets the Mihawk, attaches a lot of Dawn to Buggy, swings 10 into my Katakuri, and I simply use a 0 drop and give up the relay to make it 11 to save it. And here we are with 10 Dawn. And we go ahead and Gadatsu to get rid of that Mihawk, leaving us with 5 Dawn open. So we can get some better swings. And we know that our opponent has no life, so we're going to take a 5 at him. And then we'll just go ahead and swing a cheeky 6 to see if that was a 2K. And trying to think the math again. We're looking at what we've got in hand. And we're saying, you know what, not a big deal. Let's just swing the 8. Giving him some targets other than life for next turn. And we're debating, do we swing another 8? We do go ahead and attach 2 to the Katakuri, making him a 10K swing, which we do get to connect. Now he's down to 1 life to our 1 life. He does have 2 attackers on board. We went ahead and left 3 Dawn open. We didn't really need them for anything. Our opponent is up to 5 cards in hand with 1 life, but he's out of range of using that 10-drop Buggy, which is great for us. He is going to go ahead and leader ability to play out the Alvida, and then he's going to just concede on after playing a couple things. Not a great turn. They actually didn't leader ability for the Alvida. They hard played the Alvida, and then leader ability into the Buggy. The Shoe Buggy doesn't really help him here because none of the characters I had were cost 3 or 4, so not too worried in that situation. Pretty good match. But that is it for these matches. If you guys liked the video, please comment and subscribe. Let me know if you want to see any other particular deck lists in the future. I'd love to make them. Thanks, everyone.